people leave their hometowns across Ghana in search of a better life. For many, that journey leads to Accra. But instead of opportunities, some find themselves living on the street.
When I was at my hometown, I was a student, but it was very difficult for me to continue my school because there was not money, and my other siblings too was going to school and we are 6. So my mom have to use that money to take care of them, so that I also stay in the house to support my mom with some small job. I remember my uncle's wife was fighting with my grandmom, so I decided to leave the house. So when I went to the market, and I decided to pick bus to Accra. People say a lot of things about Accra. Say Accra is a nice place. The Ejima wo honom ne sanema. So that is the reason why me share the Accra. But I was not having anyone in Accra. Like I was not even thinking, say me ba Accra when China met na Ejima be na me ba ye ne sanema. It just came to my mind, say me bra Accra.
I was at Ashanti Region with my father, and my mother came for me that we are coming to Accra. So I think that, coming to Accra, I'm done with life, because when you hear about Accra, it means you are coming to survive. So I followed my mother here, and we were staying at Apenkwa. So how I expected life, that was not what I got. So I started picking scraps, and then by the time I realized I'm at Kaneshi, I'm sleeping on the street.
I grew up in a village called Kwamoso with my 4 siblings and then my grandmother. My grandmother was a farmer, so we used to help her with the farming. But we'll help her after when we close from school. That's when we will go and help her with the farming. She didn't have money to pay our school fees, so she uses the maize to pay our school fees. She will just go and give the maize to our headmaster, and then she will take money from him because that was our school fees. Life in the village was not easy because we used to carry things from the farm to the house, and it was a big distance, so we always get tired because the things that we carry was very heavy. At that time, I have no choice because she also need the money to buy our uniform and also use some to take care of us. So when I was going to the school, I made some bad friends. So they started giving me bad advice. So I started feeling like my grandmother was stressing me. She was worrying me. I wanted to be free like how my friends was. So I decided to live where my grandmother is. I packed my things one day and lived there. So I just picked a car from our village to Medina. When I get to Medina, I was so confused. I just heard the mate was saying Accra, Accra. Another thought also came into my mind. I was like, people will come to Accra and they will make money. Then they will come to the village, then people will be like, Accra, no, no. I just like, the mate, so I'm coming to Accra, then I'll make money. That's how I reach Accra.
My childhood was mostly abusive because it was just me and my dad, and he used to beat me a lot. If I say beating, not the normal beating we know, sometimes he took it to extreme. Other times he even bent me with hot irons, hit me with a hockey stick, like a lot. And I used to run away from home a few times, but I always came back, not my own free will. There were people who found me and took me back home, and the beatings got even more worse. So I was thinking, what if one day I'm there and he beats me to the point of death? So that was what scared me. So that made me leave.
I'm papa and mamma and I. Nam papa and mamma, Ashanti. I'm tempted to see to my papa every school. We are school and Jibia mammy, a care baby, oh, yeah. Nti me kwa SS school na me kono kakra o se na ko say no ntumi mfa nko school ko ye adwuma no ntumi mfa nko school no akasakasa Ti me wa na madam bi ka chem say ono ni baby wa Accra I fe ni Slegon. Na ka chem say e ono ba intentem na be yamboa. To Accra ni sa no na me so mboa na me so me hwehwe. Obi odi me ko school. To Accra ni sa na me so me ya na me di n'echi. Ono na fa me ka na e bae. Ti e bae no da de na mba na me hu nkrofo bebele. Na me say nkrofo no me ya wana na so nkrofo no mo ha no. No me stress scans o me didi. Na me ka chen say a cho me de scans say me ya dan. Ini mi ho no ka chen say me mentumi asles car. And yes me didi. Na me so me start say me usia. Still me slave car.
Once on the streets, survival becomes a priority. Food, safety, and shelter are uncertain. For many young people, life quickly turns into a daily struggle.
So from the beginning, I find things difficult because I don't know anybody around. So when you wake up like this, I don't have money to bath, I don't have money to eat. I was really suffering. I was not able to turn back to my parents back again. So all I have to do is to struggle. And then I met another girl from that street. She was like, she had been selling pure water those times. So I have to join her to sell the water. I went to sell the water for the first time. Second time and third, I was like, no, this work is too stressful for me. I can't do this work. So I stopped the water and then I joined another friend to sell tomatoes. So at a point on the street, I got pregnant and then my whole life became some way because I felt like I don't have enough money to cater for both of us because when I was alone, I find things difficult. I sometimes don't even eat bath before I sleep. And I was thinking of how right now I'm becoming to how am I going to cater for both of us. So I started thinking to abort the baby because the father to deny. And I also don't have enough money to cater for us. So all I can do at that moment is to abort the baby. But a friend of mine introduced FOA to me that they also help street children.
Life on the street is not easy because everything deals with money. If you don't have money, you can't live on the street because you have to take care of yourself, buy clothes for yourself, feed yourself, and a lot of things. So if you don't have money or if you don't have a place to sleep on the street, it's very difficult. And they rape the girls at Kanta, and if you get pregnant, they always deny it. The guys don't want to take it, so you suffer more to take care of yourself. On the street, everyone lives their life. You can't report it to anyone because no one have sent you on the street. So even though we have people that they call boss, but they will not do anything because it's none of their business. Everyone will be born a bra or street news. Maybe 1 week on, so I started to date. So the boy was the one taking care of me.
At Kaneshi, at night, I was sleeping and I don't know where they're from. Some big grown-up guys they came, then they started searching me. Not only me, we were like 7 boys. They started searching us, then beating us. We should bring out our monies and many things. And we said we don't have anything. And that time throughout the beating, you have to bring out the money. Otherwise, they will beat you. Then they themselves they will put their hands inside your pocket. And so that made me move from there to airport, Opebia. That was 2013, 14. And even that place was very tough. I went there and I got a friend that smokes. And I joined them, but I don't know that my friend was smoking. So one day he said I should go and escort him. And I followed. Then we went. So I see my sizes there and his sizes. He was older than me. I was very small, so they were smoking, and I asked, "What is this?" When they said, "Oh, this one there is no anything. It's just you just pull it, then you just release the smoke, then that's all." And I said, The thing was like I don't want to work with them again, but I realized that the place I am, they were the only people that I can depend on right now. So they passed me and I smoked the weed. So after smoking the weed, like I feel different, like, hey, I'm not in my body again. I started laughing and those things, and then from there, I started going, and I became part of them. And some of the experiences too are in the night, like this. We have girls, we have boys, and they are small girls, they are grown-up boys, and they are grown-up girls and small boys. So the grown-ups come for the small ones and sometimes maybe rape them. It's not like maybe they rape them and you don't have anyone. You don't have anyone. That's the true fact, because you are on your own and anything can happen to you. So you just let the best come out of those things. But that's not the best. But now where you are, that's what you have to face, because you have left home and now you are struggling here. And no way going back home, because things have become tough and hard. Even the one you spend on yourself is very hard. And the police too are very strict, like Charlie. In the night like this, they'll be chasing us. When they catch you, they will beat you. I have a mark here. It was the police people. They use their sticks at night. They said we should go to our families and things. We should stop sleeping on the roadside, and they will be beating us at that night.
The street is rough. The street is rough. I only had a glimpse of it when I spent a night on the streets with these kids. This is way back in 2016. And I mean, these kids are laying on the bare floor, sometimes on cardboard boxes, but most often laying on concrete floors by the side of the road. And they spend all night sleeping there, mosquitoes biting them, cars driving so fast past them, and these kids are inhaling the dust and then the fumes from these cars. And then they wake up every morning and their meals are not guaranteed, so they have to go and hustle. They have to go beg for money, and then they come to our cars and beg for money. We ignore them, or we say hurtful things to them. They just want to survive, and they can't figure out ways to survive. So some of the young boys get recruited into armed robbery. They get recruited into other things just to make money. Young girls get recruited into sex work, and they do other things to make money, and they get stuck. The street is rough. It's not a place for anyone to live on, let alone young girls and boys who are as young as, 10, 11, 12 years. They are not matured. They don't have the resilience. They need protection. They need safety. They need predictability. They need stability. The street doesn't offer any of these things to these kids. And unfortunately, most of us don't understand this.
On the streets, I've been sleeping at the roadside, and also people outside the place to, maybe if you are begging for money, they try to insult you, say a lot of words on you, and sometimes they try to use other words like maybe you're a thief and others, because some of the boys on the street still, so they try to say the things that maybe you are part of the people who have been stealing.
But your street boys there, Ebuama, street na wabasu, enye weyo, enye bi askanti na onamo, Ebuama, street na wabasu, nebusu enibi, ase fearful na oma ye na waba street. Into ono waba, Ebuama bonsa ne dia no dia bear drugs, bu adwenwen. Bonsa ono ni se fie no onko biem, pamno ma pamno no abeka wa. To Ebuama bonsa ono dia bear drugs ni wi no.
Because of the many things they face on the streets, the dangers they encounter, sometimes seeing people die, injury, the cars knocking down people, fights on the streets, they can sometimes develop a condition called post-traumatic stress disorder. So with this disorder, they are on like hyper alerts, hyper vigilance. They are triggers. It can cause panic attacks. It can increase anxiety rates. So we see these in youth that are on the streets as well. When someone goes on the street, you hear you're a thief, you're a bad child, you are good for nothing, you cannot do it, you cannot make it. And those voices actually play a role in how they develop and how they grow up, especially when they leave at a young age. When you are growing up, your family gives you a form of identity. You discover who you are in your family setting. And so when these youth are separated from their family at a young age, it plays a role in how they see themselves. Imagine leaving home at 7, being on the streets, and hearing every day, you're a bad child. That's why your parents didn't want you. That's why you are here. If you were good, they would come looking for you. You start to internalize and believe that, oh, I am the reason why I am here. There must be something inherently wrong with me. That is why I am where I am. And you actually forget that it might be due to circumstance or family dynamics, which is no fault of yours. And that is why you are where you are.
After years of working with street children in Accra, one thing became clear. If the problem is not addressed from its roots, the cycle continues. That revelation led to the creation of Hometowns of Hope by Future of Africa.
Right now, there are so many initiatives focused on responding to the crisis of young girls and boys living on the streets. But then we think that by the time you're responding to the crisis, it's too late. So to solve this problem, we need to get ahead of the problem. We need to start thinking about what's happening at home, what's happening in their hometowns, what's happening in their villages. Why are they coming to the streets? And we need to be able to identify those factors and figure out how do we address those factors at source so that these young girls and boys don't end up on the streets. So this program, this project is about going into the rural communities, going into junior high schools, senior high schools, and identifying the youth who are at risk of dropping out. So we want to do that. We want to create awareness. We want to educate young people who are at risk to understand what is actually happening on the streets, the dangers of life on the streets. Because sometimes there's a false promise of a better life in Accra, a false promise of having access to money and fancy things when they come to Accra. But then when the young girls and boys come, they realize that the struggle is real. And no one tells them the reality of lives on the streets before they come to Accra. Like let's paint a real picture of what's happening in Accra for young girls and boys living on the streets, so that those in the rural areas are informed and perhaps deterred from coming to the streets. But it's also about educating the broader community on how they can support their young ones to stay within the community. It's also about identifying small and medium-sized businesses that have the potential of training these young people in hands-on skills, so that if they drop out because of extreme poverty or whatever factors that leads to dropouts, they could be identified, trained in their communities, so they have access to a skill that leads to employment. So we want to get ahead of the problem instead of just responding to the crisis. And that's the reason why we came up with the Hometowns of Hope project.
One of the things that we really need to look at is sensitization, especially when it comes to with the children in these communities and then the parents as well. They need to be educated on the real issues that is going on the ground. And I think with what Future of Africa is doing now, it will go a long way to help. Usually social welfare would go to the schools, and mostly we would meet with the parents, teachers, and the students as well. And then that's where we explain some of these things, the side effects of these things to them. And so I believe if we really do a lot in the area of sensitization, it will go a long way to help prevent these things. I think that more jobs should also, the government should also look at creating some more jobs for the community, in the communities, in the rural areas for some of these young people, so that it will also deter them from coming into the cities. It's a collaborative effort. And you know, government is already doing their part. But even with that, we still need more hands.
Ending streetism is not the responsibility of one organization alone. It requires family, communities, government, and society working together. And it begins with giving young people a reason to stay and hope in their hometowns.